Does Monday at the office feel like a storm? Not with Microsoft Copilot. That feeling when Copilot gets everyone up to speed instantly? It's sunny again. When Copilot simplifies complex data so your teams can act, that sun's shining on a beach. And when Copilot uncovers hidden insights, you're on that beach with your people, and you find buried treasure. That's Microsoft Copilot. Learn more at Microsoft.com/AI for all.
Today on CityCast Pittsburgh, the solar eclipse is almost here, and we're talking travel plans, how to see it safely, and what maybe road snacks to consider for your trip. This year's Steelers report card is in, and Jens, it is pretty bleak, and the Pittsburgh Bureau of Police is shifting its overnight schedule. We've got the news you need to carry you through the week. It's Tuesday, March 5th. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I'm with CityCast producer Sophia Lowe. Good morning.
Morning, Megan.
So, Dish, you were talking about it, I feel like, all week last week.
Yes.
Did you actually get into the Novo Asian food hall this weekend?
I've been thinking about the food hall for so long, and I was actually on the fence about going this weekend just because I figured it was busy. But I was out with a group of friends. Someone convinced me, like, we should go check it out. I was like, okay, I'm not going to turn down an excuse to go. But we got there, and then the line down the terminal was, like, outside the building, stretching down across stores. And I immediately went, no, thank you. So we all split up. One brave soul tried to stand in line to get in. Like 30, 40 minutes later, was not even in the building. So we brought him extra food that we had picked up from other places and headed home. So maybe I'll check it out like in a month. I don't know how long these lines will last.
Yeah, right. I mean, I feel like it was like all that was in my feed, but I also like didn't see a ton of food photos. I saw a ton of photos of the outside of the place and then some of like decor. So that presumes that they got in the space, but then I didn't actually see a lot of food pictures. I'm curious what folks got.
Me too, but I'm sure we'll be sharing more once we all get around to trying it, though. Who knows when that'll be.
So, Sophia, what have Pittsburghers been talking about this weekend?
This news came out after we finished recording last week, and it's an update of sorts. On a recent Friday News Roundup, we talked about how the Monroeville Convention Center is closing down, and Hobby Lobby is taking over some of that space. Like I asserted before, we don't need this many trinkets, but that's okay,
It is
I guess.
a very, very large space.
Yeah, and well, one thing local businesses were concerned about was whether they'd be able to stay open and successful because people wouldn't be coming to the convention center, and already one hotel has fully closed down.
Yeah, the DoubleTree that was right beside it. I saw that.
Yeah, so KDKA talked to an employee from the DoubleTree who said that 60% of the hotel's business came from the convention center.
Wow.
I don't know how you'd figure out those exact numbers, but I have no doubt that the cons were what was drawing people to stay nearby.
You know, I bet it was like the way you can reserve rooms for your event, that kind of thing. Like, I bet there's some calculation there. That's interesting, though.
That makes sense. I just can't do math.
But I mean, it makes sense, especially if you're like doing cosplay or something, because they have so many cons over there. The Steel City Comic-Con. I feel like I've heard you talk about that one. It's like your dream, right?
Yeah, last year I went to New York City Comic Con, and I was excited to find out that we had something nearby as well, because I saw people going to the NYC Convention Center, fully riding the subway in full cosplay. That's too much. I feel like staying nearby and then heading to the Monroeville Convention Center is much easier.
Well, it helps you preserve your complicated outfit, you know, like you don't want it to get damaged en route over there. Yeah, when we first shared this news, we saw that the mayor of Monroeville had said that he wanted to try to save the convention center. There's since been a meeting, I guess, with a whole bunch of officials, including the lieutenant governor.
Yeah, the Trib reported on this meeting, mostly that this meeting happened, not so much about what happened during the meeting. So I guess this is probably still very much a work in progress, and they're starting to figure out how to save the convention center.
Or work with Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, I know local officials at the time hadn't actually been able to meet with Hobby Lobby yet.
So I guess we'll keep you posted.
So anything new that's caught your attention, Megan?
Yeah, so an update about our police stations. About a week ago now, Police Chief Larry Scarato announced some changes to the way they schedule and do responses, and those were implemented basically right away.
Oh, the 4-day work week thing. Because I saw a headline for an
Mhm.
article about that, and I was personally fuming for a bit because I would like a 4-day work week. And then when I clicked on the article, I realized it was still 40 hours of work spread across 4 days and a 10-hour workday. That sounds long to me.
I mean, most people I know who work in the kind of jobs where you have to respond quickly, like news or first responders or healthcare, like they work 10-hour days anyway most of the time. So like this just like at least acknowledges that fact and allows you to have a day off to compensate.
That's true. I'm just scared that a 10-hour workday is going to turn into like a 12-hour workday with all the extra running around, travel time, all of that kind of thing.
Right. So yes, police officers are going to have this 4 10-hour workdays and a 3-day weekend. But there's a lot of other changes that I think has more of an impact or at least more directly impacts people that folks should know about. I understand that a 4-day work week is a very grabby headline.
Yeah, definitely. It worked for me. But so let's get into the other changes then. What else should people know about?
So a big part of this is reduced staffing for overnights. So there's just going to be fewer police officers out, patrolling and in shifts and doing desk work, that kind of thing in the zone offices. So Pittsburgh's police bureau is set up in zones all across the city. So they're geographically close to whatever they might be responding to. There'll be fewer police officers from 3 to 7 a.m. Chief Scarato talked a lot about how these decisions were driven by data and there just aren't as many emergency calls during those hours.
Yeah, that makes sense. Less people awake.
Yeah. So just not a full staff writing any of those desks. You can still call 911 or use those blue phones around the city that connect you directly to 911 during nighttime hours.
I haven't actually seen one of those phones that they've been talking about yet, or at least that I know of, but I'm just imagining those like blue light direct telephones that you see on college campuses.
Yeah, that's what I pictured too. So besides the nighttime stuff, police are also shifting how they respond to calls during the day. So they have this thing they're calling the telephone reporting unit that's going to handle some of the phone calls that police get instead of having a police officer show up in person. KDK did a lot of pieces about this. In one of them, it said that police are going to aim to respond to about 50,000 calls per year, like in person, versus the 200,000 that they've been responding to year on year.
Oh, that's a big difference.
It's a huge difference. Yeah.
So did they say what kind of calls that they'll be prioritizing, like an in-person response to then?
Yeah, just to read from there, it says anything where a suspect may be on scene, any crime where a person may need medical aid, any domestic dispute, calls with evidence, or where the mobile crime unit might be requested to process a scene. So, like where you need that hands-on attention. The police say they hope it helps with workload for officers, and especially in reference to that 4-day work week, also recruitment to get more people in the pipeline to become a cop. And also kind of downline, it'll limit how often police come into the field and potentially escalate a situation that maybe never needed them on site to begin with.
Yeah. Besides that, are there any other police updates people should be aware of?
Sort of a footnote to the other stuff, they're making a new violent crime division that lumps together some existing units, so homicide, narcotics, intelligence, violence prevention. The city's not historically great, though, at proactively self-reporting if and when stuff like this helps, like kind of how they categorize and organize things. But, we can cross our fingers and hope for the best and ask lots of questions if, it seems like they're not telling us when we want to know.
It's only a kick, a jump, a block. It's only a serve. It's only a tackle, a run. It's only for the fans. After all, it's only pressure. You got this. Adidas.
Shipping can make or break a sale, so optimize how you ship your orders with ShipStation. They make it easy to automate and manage orders no matter how big your business grows. And they might even be able to help reduce shipping and warehouse costs. So optimize and keep up your momentum for growth with ShipStation. Sign up for your free 60-day trial now at ShipStation.com and use the code POD. That's ShipStation.com with the code POD.
Okay. Give me another story. What else should I know to get me through the week?
So I have some good water cooler fodder. The Steelers scored really poorly in a new survey from the NFL Players Union.
So the players on the team are rating what? Like the org itself?
Sort of. Yeah, actually. The union puts together these condition reports for every team where the athletes are surveyed about things like the training staff, food, how their families are treated. Last year was the first one they had ever done. We did not do great last year either. This year is somehow worse.
Okay, this all sounds much more interesting to me than the actual sport itself, but it's a pro football team. Like, how much nuance is there in all of this scorecard stuff?
I mean, I think it's a lot, actually. So, for example, let's use you. So when you took this job at CityCast, you had questions, right? Like you probably did some Googling about salary and benefits, maybe any extras. Like, do you get a laptop or are there good snacks in the break room?
We don't have a break room, Megan.
Look, we do work from our pajamas a lot. I don't know if that's represented on Glassdoor. But anyway, you try to check stuff out whenever you take a new job.
Right.
But with professional athletes, you don't always have that level of insight. A lot of folks have said over the years, there's just like no visibility into the extra stuff before you sign to a team, which sometimes is not relevant because you get traded and it's not your choice. But sometimes it is. Sometimes you can like weigh different offers and you could make an informed choice. That's where this player report card is now coming in handy, because if you have a choice, there's that. But even if you don't, at least you can like level set in your own brain. Like, okay, this team has this. That's great. This team doesn't have this other thing. I will have to compensate for that on my own.
Okay. So like what kinds of things are they ranking then, and how did the Steelers do?
Yes. I recommend anybody who is a sports person or a pro-union person to take a look at this. It's a pretty easy read. I'll give you some letter grades first. Food, for example, B-. Not bad. Nutrition and diet, however, D-. We rank 14th overall in both food freshness and taste, which I thought was like kind of funny. This one is abysmal. Treatment of families, F-.
I didn't realize you could get that bad. I assumed F was just the worst.
Yeah, but I guess we don't have any kind of daycare or a family room for families during games.
Does that mean they have to like pay for their own tickets, or how does that work then?
I don't know. I don't know what it is we're lacking, but it does specifically say in the details that we're one of very few teams that don't accommodate for families and their safety, because that's like a thing for them to come watch the game on site, but like be taken care of while they're there. Next one, locker room, F. They say it's too small and also overcrowded. Training room, D+. They say we're understaffed in trainers and physical therapists. And also the players really want a sauna. I guess other teams have saunas.
Okay, that seems like a little extra perk, but I don't know what the life of a professional athlete is like and what kind of care you need for your body. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because I also want a sauna. That seems like a request that I would also make.
Right. There was also something about the cold plunge thing. Like they have them, they just want more of them. So I think there must be a heat cold, like maybe it helps your muscles. Like I get it.
Okay.
The weight room was particularly scathing. The letter score itself was a C, but it included this line: a majority of Steelers believe their facility is no better than where they could otherwise train off-site. Which, like, you're telling me a Gold's Gym or an Anytime Fitness is better than the Steelers training facility? Are you kidding me?
I was about to say that seems like very important for a professional athlete.
Yeah, like, well, man, like to me, I mean, it's very kindly written, but it also like kind of implies something really like, ooh. Rough. Coach, A. They love Mike Tomlin. I was kind of surprised.
Well, I mean, at least there's something good in all of this.
Right. But ownership, F. So they don't trust that the Rooneys will invest in anything to make any of this stuff better. Again, very surprised.
Okay, that is something I could not react to. You could tell me anything and I'd nod.
Well, there are more categories, but those are the ones that jumped out for me. It's maybe worth mentioning, too, that some of the other teams in our division, so Baltimore, Cleveland, they scored pretty well on a lot of these. Philly scored extremely well in most of these categories, but Cincinnati's is super weird. There are a bunch of F- and then a bunch of B+. It was a little baffling.
Well, none of this is still gonna get me to an actual football game, I don't think. But, I mean, I hope the players get their sauna and a daycare. Take care of everyone.
Okay, let's end on a fun note. Sophia, I know you have been talking about the eclipse that's coming up next month for ages. Now, we promised you would get to talk about it, and now is your moment to shine.
Yes, this is it. Megan, I know how you've talked about how the universe's birthday gift to you is daylight savings time and like the evening sun that's going to happen soon. The eclipse is the universe's present to me.
Woohoo! Yeah,
Yes.
it's going to be April 8th, so that's just a few days after your birthday. Am I counting that right?
Yes, that's right.
So remind me, I look this up every time. What is the difference between a lunar and a solar eclipse? This one's a solar.
Yes, this one's a solar eclipse, and that's what happens when the moon comes between the Earth and the sun. So this happens during the day. That's how I remember it, quite honestly, day versus night. The lunar eclipse happens during the night, and that's when the Earth is between the sun and the moon. So what this means for the eclipse in April is that you can expect the sky to get really, really dark in the middle of the day, and it's going to feel like nighttime for a few minutes.
And the really exciting part for folks around here is that we actually get a really good view of it this time. I mean, assuming the clouds don't get in the way.
Yes, assuming that there are no clouds, and with Pittsburgh, who knows? It's supposed to be a really great view. In Pittsburgh, the sun's coverage is going to be at 97%, and if you want that 100% totality, that's happening really close to here too. You can drive a couple hours north and go to Erie. That's where the path of totality for the eclipse is going to cross over.
Or try to get there. It sounds like folks have been making travel plans there for a while. Newsletter editor Francesca DeBecco wrote a piece about this for the pittsburgh.citycast.fm website. She included this great simulation that shows when and where the eclipse is happening across the state, because you can look at it in a bunch of spots. Like Pittsburgh is pretty darn close with 97%, but you can get even closer in upper corners of our state.
Yes, and if you want to start planning now for Pittsburgh, the max viewing of the eclipse is going to be at 3:17 p.m., but you can start seeing some changes in the sky probably around 2 p.m.
So that's going to be like pretty darkish, like twilightish. But from what we've read in Erie, it's going to be a lot more impressive. Maybe worth the trip if it's possible for you.
Yes, and a lot of people are willing to pay big bucks for it. There was an article I saw from Spotlight PA that came out in 2023, so a whole year ago. And they reported that hotel prices had already gone up to $900 a night. And I'm guessing by now that means everything is probably booked up or super expensive.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm planning on watching it from like roadside. Like, we're going up to the Finger Lakes for that weekend to have a nice little time. And then we're going to drive north, I think, to around Rochester. But I imagine they're going to be as booked up as Erie is. So, like, my plan is fully just to stop on the side of the road and watch it there with some snacks.
Yeah, my plan is to get up really early and see how close to Erie I can get. And I was trying to think of some sun-themed snacks for the drive.
Sun chips, obviously.
Yes, you came up with that. That was your immediate reaction. Garden salsa is my preferred flavor, but since it's the morning, I don't know if I want garden salsa chips. I'll be fueling up with coffee.
It's good for the trip back.
That's true. But I am trying to come up with other sun-themed things I could make for the ride.
I Googled around for this. I'm a little ashamed that I didn't think of this myself, but somebody recommended moon pies, which they're a southern delicacy for sure, but you can get them in major stores around here. I brought one up for the team, actually, from a recent trip to Tennessee.
Yes, thank you.
They're very good. They're like marshmallow, and they can come in different flavors. I saw someone recommended pierogi, actually, because it's like half moon shaped, so sort of in honor or homage of the eclipse. I don't know. Do you think that one counts, Sophia?
No, not for me, but if you want an excuse to eat pierogi, like, that's totally fine.
Right? I think the conversation around road snacks for this stuff is really hilarious. Also, I saw Blue Moon beer, so there's that one.
Oh,
This is
okay.
a solar eclipse, though. You need sun snacks.
Okay. I mean, Eclipse gum,
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
that works for either sun or moon.
So if folks do want to go see it, Sophia, what are the suggestions for traveling into the path? I know Spotlight PA did a little bit of reporting on this, like just to avoid, for example, Presque Isle. Like the beach would be dope, right? But I don't think that's a good thing. It's just one road in and out of there. You'd get trapped.
With the amount of people coming in and just the fact that Presque Isle only has one road, that is somewhere you should not be going. If you're going to head up to Erie, Visit Erie has a bunch of events for the eclipse. We'll have links in the show notes to get some of that information. I would say the one thing is probably show up early. Like, some of these are capped at 1,000 people. So if you're not there on time, you might get turned away. Like Frontier Park has an event and it's got music, food, poetry. It's kid friendly. That sounds fun. The Erie Lighthouse is also hosting a watch party. And then the Erie Zoo has eclipse activities for people and animals. And that sounds really fun. You would need a ticket to the zoo to get access to those events though.
I wonder how an animal experiences an eclipse. Are you going to take Pistachio?
No, because I don't think she should sit in the car for that long. So I hope she's not too scared while by herself when it gets dark. She'll probably be like napping already. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Can you put eclipse glasses on a kitty cat? Is that a thing?
I haven't tried, but she hates clothes, so I don't think she'd do well with glasses.
Well, that's a good reminder. Everyone should order Eclipse glasses. I'm speaking to myself. I have not yet done this. I think they're pretty easy to buy online. If I remember correctly, the Carnegie Science Center had some kind of link for like how to find decent ones instead of fake ones. Do they make fake ones? Is that a thing?
I'm sure someone's probably trying to scam people, which is not good. But yes, the Carnegie Science Center is doing an eclipse extravaganza, so that should also be fun if you want to stay here in Pittsburgh. And we'll also link that page so you can see what kind of programming they'll have. And maybe more importantly, the eclipse glasses. They have a link from where you can buy certified glasses. So no matter where you're viewing the eclipse, you should definitely have those with you.
Perfect. Sophia, maybe we set a Slack reminder for ourselves for Pistachio to tell us to buy our eclipse glasses.
Yes, I'll Photoshop her with some glasses on, so we'll all remember.
Sophia, thank you so much.
Thanks, Megan.
That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. And a reminder, if you do get some glasses, if you plan on watching this thing, you have to leave them on the whole time. If the sun is still visible, keep your glasses on. If you have fun eclipse plans that you want to share with folks in Pittsburgh and Erie, even up in New York State like me, please do let us know. You can hit us up on social at CityCastPGH or email us. That's Pittsburgh@citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Talk to you soon.
I can spend this time looking for a pistachio picture to Photoshop.